focus shifts to extensions for his draft class mates, the former MVP Lamar Jackson and the former #1 pick overall, Baker Mayfield. Here was Ravens head coach John Harbaugh on Lamar's status.
Nothing's changed in the sense of it'll happen when it's going to happen, when it's best for both sides to happen. Both sides want it to happen. And there's really not a hurry on it. Lamar is going to be our quarterback for many years to come, and we want him. He wants us.
I'm very happy for Josh. I think Josh is a great guy. Going through that process with him, obviously very happy for him. He's, in a tradition-rich town like Buffalo. They're lucky to have a quarterback like him that cares about it and lives that same mindset that they do up in Buffalo.
What goes through your head though when you see those kind of numbers?
Like I said, I'm worried about winning. I think the rest will take care of itself. It's good for the quarterback position overall. I'd be lying if we said otherwise. But I'm worried about winning right now. I don't know the timeline on it. We haven't talked about it because I'm worried about winning this season.
All right, Coach, who will wind up being the best quarterback of the 2018 draft class, Allen, Lamar, or Baker?
It's so interesting, Chris, to hear Baker talk about it and say he didn't think about that contract at all. That's so not true. Whenever you see a guy get a staggering number like that, it's one of those things where even if you come in second or third place, you're really happy because that guy's now reset the bar in terms of what people are getting paid. And you look at Josh Allen and what he's done, and the numbers are staggering in terms of his quarterback rating from his rookie year to where he was last year is up 40%. Completion percentage is up dramatically. Almost every category he's improved in. That's why it makes sense to give him the contract that he has. And he's been lucky with his offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll. I think Brian is outstanding. I think he teaches holistically. So he teaches not just from the offensive perspective, but from the defensive perspective. And that really helps a quarterback. But then continuity becomes an issue, and I think Brian's going to get a head coaching job in the near future. So it's going to be interesting to see where that development goes. And then when you get a contract like that, there's always the fear that the guy's going to try to prove something. He's going to prove that he's worth that number, and that can get in their head, and that can actually make him force things. So seeing whether last year was an aberration or whether that was truly who the guy was or is what I'm looking at. I really like Baker in terms of how he's talking. He's matured so much from fighting with Colin about things that he said or responding to anybody and then talking about things that have no value. And the fact that he's talking about winning, he's talking about team goals, he's talking about all the right things, to me is encouraging, and his numbers are encouraging. With Lamar, I'm a little frustrated because I think that you want to see more development in the passing game. He's obviously dynamic as a runner, but you haven't seen that true growth as a passer. And as he keeps moving on, you're going to want to use him less and less as a runner because of his value is so substantial. So the easy answer to me would be Josh Allen based off of what he's done and what we've seen. But I think that Baker has a chance to challenge that group if the trajectory and the maturity stays on the same path.
While I'll agree with Coach, I do think you made some tremendous points, especially on the development of passing for Lamar Jackson. But I'm going with Lamar Jackson, who will wind up having the better career out of all of them. For the simple fact, just by process of elimination, he's already gotten an NFL MVP award. That, to me, sets him so far ahead. He's already got a first-team All-Pro. A lot of guys that play in this league never see first-team All-Pro. More guys never see an MVP award. So, to me, I'm already looking at what Lamar has already accomplished, and I say if we're talking about who's going to have the best career, Lamar Jackson has already put hardware on his resume that would, well, for now, it would set him apart from Baker and from Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen's game. And I feel Baker Mayfield has matured quite a bit as a leader, as a person, and that will ultimately make him a better player as well. I like the way he responded. He's focused in on what he needs to be focused in on. I agree, he is thinking about those numbers. He needs this year to prove that he's a guy. Like Josh Allen needs this year to prove that he's a guy. He did it last year. They both came into their own at different points. I think Josh Allen, with the addition of Stephon Diggs, did tremendous good for him. And then looking at Baker Mayfield, the running attack, the emergence of as strong and powerful as his offensive front is, really did him a lot of justice. So to me, I think that those guys have an opportunity to contend and catch up and be just as good as Lamar Jackson. I do not look at Lamar Jackson in regression for many years. I think he has at least 3 to 4, maybe even 5 more years where he can play his style of football, his brand of football, and it not be a problem. There can be a lot of damage he does in that next 3 to 5 year window of time. So, Joy, to me, I think right now Lamar Jackson is light years ahead in terms of who's going to end with the better career.
I don't know that it's light years ahead, but I would also go with Lamar Jackson. I mean, Josh Allen has readily improved every single year of his career. I was very wrong about Josh Allen. I thought he was he kind of wasn't great his first 2 seasons.
I
was close to being right, but then he took a great step up, which is why he's getting this contract now, which he deserves. So he put in the work and developed and has great pieces around him and a great coaching staff around him and put it all together. So good for him, and he deserves this contract. And Buffalo did right by him, and now they have their quarterback of the future. But to me, if I'm looking at this class of quarterbacks, I'm going with Lamar Jackson. And for all the talk about Lamar Jackson and his, passing abilities, which has been talked about since he was coming out in the draft, he was the NFL passing touchdown leader the year that he won the MVP. He can throw the ball. They have improved their wide receiving units. So I'm looking at Lamar Jackson as the standard for this group of quarterbacks. It wouldn't surprise me if Josh Allen ended up having a better career than him as far as winning Super Bowls or decorations. But I would put Baker in third only because I think the system around Baker is elevating him a little bit. I do agree with you. I think Baker has matured a lot. I love what he's saying now. I love the culture that they're building in Cleveland. I think a lot of what's happened in Baker's career up until this point has been a reflection of the dysfunction in Cleveland, having to go through 3 coaches in the beginning of his career, which is completely out of his control. So I think that's kind of set him back in his development as well. But if I have to pick one out of this class to project to have the best career, I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I'm going to even this out and go with Josh Allen. Look, he's got everything. He's got the strong arm. He's become very accurate. He's obviously got the NFL, the great size that you want. He's got athleticism. He can run the football when he needs to. He's shown a great work ethic because of the improvement from each year that he's made. He doesn't make the careless throws that he used to. So I think he's just going to keep getting better. And he's got, a coach mentioned, Brian Daboll, his OC, but he's also got a great receiving core. And Stephon Diggs, they added Emmanuel Sanders, and you still got Cole Beasley. So I just think Allen is going to have the better career over the long haul than all of these guys. Lamar, obviously, you're right, LeVar. He's been the best one thus far. There's no doubt about that. But I've got questions about his playing style. And he's been healthy to date, all right, which is a bit unusual already, especially for a guy his size. But I'm concerned when that 4.3 40 becomes a 4.5 40, maybe even a 4.4 40. And now some of those hits he's able to avoid, maybe he's getting clocked on those hits now. And so I've got to see the passing game improve. I don't think he'll run for 1,000 yards this year. I think each year he's going to probably run for less and less yardage. And so his passing game is going to have to improve. You love the rookie Rashad Bateman, so maybe that's a receiver he can work with. Obviously, Sammy Watkins is there too. I want to see him throwing outside the numbers this year. Now, we're going to find out, was it because he didn't have the personnel in the past, or was it because he just isn't good at doing that yet? but I've got to see more improvement in the passing game from Lamar, and I'm concerned about that. He's a good passer, but to be better than Josh Allen going forward, I think he's going to have to become an outstanding passer, and I have yet to see that, Coach.
And when you look at it, Fran Tarkenton said that he's seen a lot of really good young running quarterbacks, but very few good old ones because of the volume of hits that they take. And when he came in the league, everything was based off the quarterback-driven runs, and he was so good at it that you had to change your coverage. And there's a ton of 8-man in the box, and that tends to really help in the passing game. But when you look at a passer, what you're always trying to evaluate is when the whole world knows you have to pass, when the whole stadium knows you have to pass, can you do it, and can you do it consistently and effectively? And when he's been in those situations, he hasn't really answered the bell the way that you would expect him to. And I think last year he was down 10 touchdowns. There's a couple more picks. His quarterback rating was down. He's got tremendous ability to affect the game as a runner, which is great, but you want him